Welcome! It's your favorite podcast of all time. I'm certain of this.
My brother, and me.
Never heard it. Don't give a shit. No, it's a Star to Steer Her By, of course. That Star Trek watching podcast.
Oh, yeah, that one.
With these colorful hosts, Ames.
Caitlin.
Jay.
There's some of that color now.
And Chris.
This fucking guy.
The least colorful one. Despite the fact that he always wears the most colorful shirts.
He is very
colorful
pale.
Metaphors, more like.
Double dumbass on you.
Doing the Star to Steer Her By thing. We're doing our full watch through and we're in the middle of Voyager now. Episodes this week are The Killing Game, parts 1 and 2, here on our episode number 276.
Hot diggity.
So I'm going to try to clump this synopsis together as one, because it's one ongoing storyline, and that's how we try to do it. And also I'm going to forget a lot of things, because that's how it's going to go.
Because that's also how we do it.
Because I didn't take down an outline notes, so here we go.
Ames slacking.
Klingon Janeway is on the holodeck, and she gets fucking stabbed by a Hirogen guy. And we're like, what? What's going on? And we come to learn that Hirogen, those dicks, have taken over the Voyager. Those dicks.
The Voyager?
And what they're doing is they realized, or at least their alpha, who the internet tells me his name is Carr, but apparently it's not in the episode. And also I have trouble telling the Hirogen apart, so that didn't help at all.
Did you say his name is Carr?
Carr, K-A-R-R. Carr. And he says, so what we're going to do is we're going to play out a whole bunch of scenarios in the holodeck, because it allows us to play lots of hunting games, which are things we like doing, whilst not killing our prey so that we get more hunts out of them. And also get to learn about your society and your culture and all kinds of things, and it just seems more efficient. Doesn't everyone agree with Carr? No, spoiler, not everyone's going to agree with Carr.
Well, I agree with him insofar as that killing your enemy is the best way to learn about their culture. Definitely.
Well, playing games on the holodeck is the way to learn about their culture, definitely.
By killing them on the holodeck.
Yeah, fair.
I'm
Cat's
just
back.
Oh, bye, cat.
So we decide the scenario that the Hirogen are drawn to the most is Nazi occupation of France-ish. The general France.
Somewhere
Some
Spock just got an erection.
Saint Clair, I think was the name of the place in France.
Sounds good.
So they're hanging out in France in the French Resistance, played by all of our favorite characters from the Voyager, don't you know? And we're doing that. I've lost track of where I started that sentence.
I like how you said they were played by all of our favorite characters, and Harry Kim is not among them.
I have a story about that.
I like that you said our favorite characters, but Neelix was among them.
You're the only one at this table who doesn't like Neelix, Caitlin.
I don't even really dislike Neelix. At this point, I just love hating on Neelix.
Okay, that's fair. That's allowed. Speaking of, so here's what we're doing in the holodeck. So we're doing the French Resistance thing. Janeway is Catherine, a restaurateur / French Resistancer.
/ owner of a fucking amazing white tuxedo.
Oh yeah, she looked great. You know who also great was Tuvok, who played the bartender in another white tuxedo, looking fine.
I think everybody looked good in this.
Shawl lapels, man, are just bang on.
Meanwhile, Seven is playing Mademoiselle Deneuf, who's a lounge singer, looking hot and doing her very warbly singing.
And it is her. It's actually Jerry Ryan doing the singing.
She does the singing. And we also meet Brigitte, who's a pregnant French girl, played by pregnant Roxanne Dawson, doing her thing. And they're all doing a resistance against the French and all this stuff. And oh no! Our mailman, baker's man, Neelix, gets shot a whole lot whilst delivering our coded messages in a wine bottle. Dang it, Neelix. And Seven got shot a little bit too, so when we go back to sickbay, where the doctor has just been keeping everyone alive, even though this is fucking nonsense, he decides, well, what if I fix this little node thing in Seven's head so that when she goes back into the holodeck, she knows what's going on, and maybe she can do an actual resistance, Voyager style.
So you're saying the nodes?
They do.
Great.
So she does. That's what she does. She goes in, and as she's doing a resistance thing, she flips a switch, and Janeway, all of a sudden, she activates, and she's like, "What the fuck are we doing in France in World War II times?" And Seven says, "Well, let me tell you, Janeway." And then, "Oh no, wait, we're blowing up this building. Quick run by. End of part 1. Actually, hang on. End of part 1 is when they blow it up, and then realize we just blew a chunk out of the holodeck.
Yep.
And now all the holodeck characters can run amok on the ship for part 2. So that's where we're going with part 2. Part 2 begins right now because, and we'll talk about this, very interestingly, these 2 episodes were just first aired back to back instead of on separate weeks.
Huh.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
And
Well, it's UPN. I guess they can do what they want.
UPN decided that that's what they were doing, whether the producers wanted to or not. Spoilers, they're also going to do it in the future now that they did it the one time. So, part 2 begins right now. We've just blown up Nazi headquarters, and everyone's really upset about it, and Janeway and Seven are still doing their resistance thing, trying to turn everybody else back on, whilst also pretending to be French resistance fighters so that the holograms don't get clued in on this and shoot them. And that's eventually what they do. They flip...
Shoot them?
They do a lot of that, for sure. Janeway gets shot in the leg eventually.
True.
But she still runs on it, because she's a bad bitch.
She is a bad bitch, this bitch. Everybody gets turned back on. Tom, meets up with B'Elanna again, and...
Tom gets especially turned back on.
And both he and his character were very into B'Elanna and her character, even though she's knocked up by a German Kapitan?
A Nazi commandant. No, wait, the commandant is the Hirogen. Either way.
Fucking German
Either way,
Deutschbag.
he's a big Nazi.
Deutschbag!
He's a big-ass Nazi, that guy.
That guy, the Naziest Nazi.
Who, has the face of a Nazi. If you look at that guy, you just be like, you know what? That guy looks like a Nazi.
I don't know, I'd like to see him out of his uniform.
Well, you'll get
Please
that chance in the
thank you.
future, but you'll also get to see him as a Nazi again.
True, I do
in the
know
future.
This. So yeah, we're all doing this still. My synopsis is running astray. We beat the Nazis. We do it with the help of Klingons because when wowzers, when Neelix went back into a holodeck, he was made a Klingon, and he gathers up some Klingon folk, bring them in to battle the Nazis. So that's a lot of fun to have. B'Elanna's baby daddy gets Klingoned to death, which was fun for me.
It was.
And then everyone turns on Carr because they like killing their prey. And Carr was preventing them from killing prey and hunting them as they wanted to do. So you know what? Fuck Carr. Kill him. Continue hunting Janeway until she gets the best of. The internet tells me the beta Hirogen's name is Taranj. Again, I don't think we heard it in the episode.
We did not.
But I'm going to call him Taranj just so I can distinguish between the two.
I'm going to call him Beta Cuck.
That guy.
Tarantula.
And he gets fucking shot into a hole in the holodeck, and he got to die.
Oh my god, it's hilarious. Isn't that the one that died hysterically?
Yeah, he gets Hans Grubered.
It's not as funny as the guy that got pitched out of the space elevator, though.
Oh, that guy from Rise. That was a good death. So that guy's dead. Eventually, somehow we blow up all the holo programs, but then the setting is still there, so I was confused.
Yes, I said the same thing. I was like, how did
Why-
they get rid of all the people, but not the fucking
Why did
backdrop?
it go back to holodeck grid if you blew up? Okay, fine. We fixed it with blowing shit up like we do, as is Janeway's plan most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
She makes a deal with some more Hirogen to say, okay, we keep killing you, you keep killing us, we'd like this to stop, and we know you like this holodeck thing, so if we give you your own holodeck, will you leave us alone? And they said, we don't like this, but okay. That's kind of how it ends.
Basically, yeah.
Somehow, no one pretended they were part of a news crew and broke into Nazi headquarters with a camera in Kirk's face. Shrug.
Based on the title, I was really expecting this to be like
Match game?
an adaptation of
The most dangerous
crying game.
Oh no,
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's a movie.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
It's about the IRA.
Dang it.
But in the context of this episode with like the lounge singer, I don't know, whatever.
I'm not going to get any other
Okay,
references.
that's
I feel
fine.
like
I know
anything
nothing
about
about
the IRA would have been like too prescient for the time almost. It
Yeah.
wasn't like Bloody Sunday around then-ish?
No.
Oh,
It was
Long after that.
relatively soon after like the formal end of hostilities, but
And TNG has already made quips about
Yeah.
Irish reunification in... Is it coming up? Is it 2024?
yeah.
Getting there. Getting closer, guys.
Yeah. So this didn't need to be a two-parter, like so many Star Trek two-parters.
No, see, I disagree. I think this needed to be like a 6-parter.
Whoa!
No.
That's way different,
And I'll tell you why.
Tell us why.
Because
You love Nazis.
no,
You love watching Nazis get shot.
sure, that's great.
That's true.
That's always fun. But my thing about this episode, I think this episode really suffered from so much being done off screen. We don't see the Hirogen take over the ship.
No,
We're just told it happened. We don't know how or why or how we got to this point.
We don't see Neelix collect all the Klingons in a rousing speech.
Well, I don't care about that.
I did.
I feel like these 2 episodes work as 2 episodes in a longer arc. But I don't know. I think this is another instance where it would have been beneficial to have lead-in to these that sort of established how the Hirogen took over the ship. And then everything's just wrapped up at the end. If you notice in the last scene, Janeway is just like, we continue to fight for days and days, and eventually we reached a stalemate and had to make peace, and everything's better now.
See, maybe it could have been a two-parter, but my main issue was they spent way too much time on the setup. Like, they spent a long time in France with just the crew not knowing who they are. And it's like, I, as the audience, already know what's going on. Can we please...
How did you know what was going on? Oh, because
we'd seen Janeway, and they talked about the Normal thing. So it's like, all right, they don't know who they are. We're in a video game. Come on!
Do you think, then, they should have skipped Klingon Janeway and only learned what was going on after Seven got shot? Or is that too much time to not know what's
I
going
would
on?
have been okay with that, because I feel like the whole scene with Janeway was super, like...
It was to prove a point. It was for context.
Well, yeah, but I felt like it was, it kind of made her a bitch, because she was like, I'm no one's prey, and then she gets the shit stabbed out of her. I just thought it was anticlimactic.
Yeah,
That's
or
what
you
I was
just
looking for.
start with, you cut right to Seven and Neelix getting gunned down in the streets of France and go from there. Because I just like... Again, for me, it was just like, okay, I know, why are we still on? Can we please get to the ship and see what's going on? And I honestly found the like leaders' whole thing interesting. Is like, our culture isn't a culture. It sucks. If we just get our like pathetic nonsense out of our system with video games, we can. And like spending more time maybe with him could have been interesting.
Yeah, I think they were trying to do with him a little what they did with Anorax, in the way that they tried to make the villain interesting and meaningful in a science fiction setting, and not just have... Because I know originally they said, we don't know what we're doing with part 2 until they figured out that Carr was going to have this kind of mindset of what if we try to reform our society in a way that isn't nomadic hunters hunting on their own, and occasionally we kill prey and that's it.
Yeah, like... So maybe 2 parts would have been fine if they reworked how they spent the time. Because I think, like, again, a lot of the core idea was really good. But to me, the least interesting part was actually watching them fuck around in France not knowing who they were.
See, I disagree with that, because I actually really enjoyed watching the characters as their French counterparts, because you could see a whole lot of their actual Voyager characters in their French Resistance characters, and as I started watching for those kinds of items, I got very interesting. Like watching Mademoiselle Deneuve and Katrine arguing in the same exact way that Seven and Janeway argue, and having the same kind of conversation. It's like, oh yeah, they're still their characters underneath these subliminal characters.
Yeah,
I was enjoying that.
But yeah, we still could have had that, but like, again, if we just... I would have been happier if just one character knew who they were sooner.
Yeah, well, I if not sooner, I think more time of having some of the characters know what's going on, and some of them not. Like, having Seven know who she was, but not Janeway, could have been very interesting if it had had more time to breathe.
Well, especially because, like, they were already doubting Leneuve, and then they doubted her even more once she was like, oh, fuck. I don't actually know who I am in this world.
I don't know how to sing these songs.
I know none of these songs.
Yeah. I forgot to connect a detonator because it's a primitive piece of shit.
Borg nanoprobes would make this better.
Right,
yes.
because
you say that about everything, Sam.
Well, there's this whole thing that should be playing out. It kind of plays out, but not enough, where like she has to play this part because her French resistance friends don't trust her, so she has to play the part of the French resistance while also resisting the Hirogen. And I feel like there was a lot of potential for good stuff in there, but it's only dealt with briefly and resolved very quickly.
Yeah. I also never worked out if I thought the, like, oh, look, get it, it's a resistance and a resistance parallel was clever or too on the nose, and I'm still not sure.
I liked it.
Yeah, I like Chakotay as Captain America. That was pretty cool.
Caitlin really liked him.
I also really liked Chakotay.
Really?
I was like,
In what
oh,
way?
hello, sexually.
Oh, he looked good in that little outfit?
Yeah, I liked him. I
Aw,
liked it. I
okay.
like a man in uniform. But also, am I wrong, or did I notice this wrong? But did he not have his tattoo in the first episode? I feel like at one point I noticed that he was not tattooed.
I
I don't
never
know.
checked, but I assumed he was.
He definitely had it in the second episode.
Yes, but I thought
So
at
if he
that
didn't
point,
in the first one, it was a mistake, not
If he didn't in the
intentional.
first
Not a
one,
choice.
maybe because he was wearing the helmet and they were hoping they wouldn't notice and
Maybe.
something.
That could have been it.
well, I was really focused on Chakotay this episode. It's the only reason. And any other episode, he could have been dressed up like a clown and I wouldn't have noticed. But this
We've
episode,
seen
I was
him-
like,
we've
where's his
seen his
tattoo?
Well, technically.
And all the aliens he's visited had seen his whole schlong. So
I almost wish that there had been other simulations, just it sort of shown very briefly in passing, just so the end could have gone full Blazing Saddles.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they kind of,
I
you know, the
did want
Klingons,
more of
the
that.
Klingons showed up, and I wanted, like, Klingons and cowboys and just anything, you know, just run it, go really stupid with it.
Did we know before this episode that Voyager only has 2 holodecks?
I don't know. I'm honestly surprised they have that many, considering how small
Well,
the ship is.
now the whole ship's a holodeck.
Yeah.
Yay.
Apparently. It will never be mentioned again, and the EMH will need his mobile emitter to leave.
Mm.
Yeah, they've
well,
taken
yeah,
it
because
all
they had
down.
to fix it. They
Yeah,
had to fix
I
it
know.
to continue on.
Well,
so.
what's interesting is, like, it's implied that at some point before he got the mobile emitter that they were going to try and do this kind of
Right,
work.
yeah.
But it was a lot of work and it was going to take a long time.
It sounds like it did. It nearly killed Harry several times.
Well, but that's because he was one guy working on it and he still only took him a couple of
he
weeks.
had that friend who was
That's
helping.
true. He did have a friend.
Speaking of Harry, why did the Hirogen keep letting him do things?
That's a great question. They left him on the bridge when they knew that he kept doing nefarious shit.
Like, the one time where he got out of it, because he was like, hey, fucking fine, but you're calling your boss and telling him, I apparently work for you now? Like, that was great.
Oh yeah, Defiant Harry was a lot of fun.
But also, that was just clever. It's like, alright, but you tell him. But then once they knew in no uncertain terms that he was a saboteur, but still let him touch stuff, it was just like, what?
They were having too much fun hunting. It's part of the reason why they hunt.
And are idiots.
I saw a reference somewhere, and I didn't read the whole thing. I just saw literally like a sentence on Memory Alpha that Brannon Braga and or Minosky, the other writer, never really cared for Harry's character, and they kind of sidelined him as the guy that they just left on the Voyager kind of because of that. But then, as they're letting him do this kind of defiant shit and standing up to Hirogens and just generally being kind of cool, they liked him better after this.
Wow. What a shock. When you write someone interestingly, they become interesting.
Take note, Troy!
I mean, again, I think they've done some good stuff with Harry previously anyway, but it's like, yeah, it's almost like they're not real people, and they're not going to be interesting until you give them something interesting to do, numbnuts.
Mm.
You're the ones in control, guys.
Fucking idiots. Poor in advance, poor Mayweather.
Oh, God.
No one gets fucked by writers just forgetting they exist more than Mayweather.
What's Mayweather?
He's gonna be an Enterprise. You're
Yeah.
barely gonna notice he's on the show.
Yeah, he's their navigator, and he gets...
And he's a person of color, which makes it sting and all this.
And he
He
has
has-
perhaps the best
Origin story.
origin story.
Yeah, but aside from that, he gets basically zero development. And also, like, when he starts out, he's a little stiff. And because he doesn't get to do much, he never really stops being kind of stiff.
The actor never really took to the role, and they never gave him anything to do. So
Yeah, it's like, it's kind of, you know, with Jadzia, she starts off a little stiff, but gets better over time as they give her stuff to do and she gets used to it. Poor Mayweather, just because they never give him anything to do, never really gets a chance. It's tragic.
but that's not what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
no, it's not.
Yeah, so one thing I thought was interesting about this, because you're watching this thing play out, and we have, you know, the pregnant resistance member whose baby daddy is a Nazi,
Mhm.
but her true love is the American who just happens to be in the forces that are retaking the city.
Well, that feels very hollow novel.
And that, yeah, and I think that's the thing that I wanted to mention is that, like,
Or any novel.
this isn't a real World War II, like, historical scenario. This is some tawdry novel, hollow novel about, you know, with you know, ooh, surprise pregnancies and, you know, this is the type of stuff
It's romance.
Yeah, I mean, this to me just seems like the type of thing that, you know, right up there. Like, I'm surprised there wasn't another holodeck simulation that was Lord Burleigh, you know, hunting the children or something.
That would have been great. Is if just
yes,
during the fight scene at the end, all the Klingons charge in, and Lord Burleigh is there with like a saber.
And Da Vinci for fun.
Yes.
Da Vinci likes a good hunt.
And Sandrine.
Some of the Vikings from back in that the Beowulf hologram.
Except Freya. Freya's dead.
Yeah.
Sorry,
See, that
Freya.
would have been a good hologram for the...
Oh, they'd have loved that
for
shit.
the Hirogens to do, because there's a monster that they have to hunt.
Yeah.
They probably did that one already. There may have been a point I wanted to make, but I forget what it was, so I'm going to read a note instead.
Okay.
Katrine was originally named Genevieve in the early
Oh,
drafts.
that would have been...
A bit.
That was a little on the nose, and I think
Yeah.
they realized, let's not do that.
That's what? Genevieve?
Genevieve was the original actress playing Janeway who quit before she could be fired.
Well, that's not very nice.
Yeah, no, that
Why
would have
you
been
do that?
kind of douchey.
Because it's a French name, I think. And they're like, what's a French name? Well, we had a French actress.
I gotta say, though, I was impressed that, like, very frequently people just kind of use Nazis as generic villains, because we all kind of know, like, why they're bad. But to actually have a Nazi just going off about, like,
here's why. Let me explain.
Let me remind you in specifics. I was like, hey, good for you leaning into that. Because fuck that guy.
Yucky.
So punchable.
He was the worst.
I also specifically enjoyed him because I know his actor, and I forget his name. Bomer, I want to say.
Bomer, yeah.
Is a huge Trekkie, and he was just so happy to be on Star Trek, and I love that about him.
Well, and he's going to be on Enterprise.
Yay!
As a Nazi. And as not a Nazi.
Yay!
And we'll see him once more on Voyager.
A Nazi.
So yeah, he's gonna be on here a couple more times.
Yay!
He is also in Call of Duty World War II.
As a Nazi?
Possibly. All I saw was his name is Heinrich.
That's a Nazi. What do you think? What is that, an American?
I mean, I don't know the plot of that game. I don't know if you link up with like a German resistance movement or something.
Chris.
So
No.
He's a Nazi.
he probably is, but then
I don't know. He was playing someone called Goebbels. I'm not sure.
Here's the thing, though. Again, his name
Adolf H. I don't know. Anybody
is Heinrich, not like Sturmbannführer something. Like it's just a generic man's first name. He could be not a Nazi. He probably is, but I don't know. So again, not played the game.
Well, play the game, report back.
God no.
Tell us how he does.
I'll just look it up later.
Yeah, I think I misremembered his character arc. Because I know I'd seen this episode before, and in my brain I was like, he learns that the baby is actually the Tom character's
Harris?
name? Bobby Davis. Is actually Bobby's, and that's when he turns on her. But no, he just turned on her because he's a Nazi.
Yeah, awful
Well,
Nazi.
but it's because they caught her
Resistancing.
Yeah, exactly. Interesting to have a Borg character so fond of saying resistance is futile as part of a resistance.
Isn't it?
What were they trying to say?
Surprised they didn't have a scene where Seven of Nine was like, what is so bad about these Nazi people? They seem to be doing a great job.
And after that,
here's the
Tuvok had a really big boner.
No,
for
here's
her.
the
Tuvok's
thing.
like, I like your style, Borgie.
The Borg don't want to murder everyone. They want to absorb them.
I mean, but
it's kind of the opposite.
But
of
in doing
Nazis.
so, they murder them.
Yes, but that's not their primary mission. If people would just stop resisting and let themselves be assimilated, they wouldn't get killed.
You're right.
That's a good point.
That when they say resistance is futile, what they mean is like, if you don't resist, we could just very gently put these things into you, and you'll be fine, and you'll be better for it.
The only people they would have killed were the Kazon because they're useless.
The worst, just the worst.
So bad.
Oh yeah, we met your people. Yeah, we didn't even bother. We just massacred them. They were absolute trash.
I enjoyed that though when she thought her number was up 7 to 9. It's like the Borg are going to assimilate you and think of me when it happens, motherfucker.
But like, here's the thing though. Also, like, is part of one of Janeway's fuck novels, having the Nazi guy be like mustache twirlingly evil makes sense. Just because the Nazi would be, like uber Nazi
Yeah.
in a story like that.
Yeah, true.
But it was only when he was prompted, you know? The
Mhm.
Hirogen was like, so why exactly are you the master race? And he was like, well, let me tell you.
Because we took down the Rome.
It was really shocking, actually,
kinda
to
was.
kind of hear it. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, no, that
They
he
went there.
He did a good job of putting stank on things.
Stank.
Yeah.
Somebody's been listening to a lot of small town murder.
In case you weren't convinced that the Nazis were the bad guys, this guy talked.
If this episode came out today, there'd be a lot of people on the internet complaining that he
That's
was
true.
too unsympathetic.
That's true. They'd be like, well, you know, but both sides, and they were shooting the Nazis too.
This episode too, like, we kind of got to this in the summary. Don't think about the tech.
Oh, the tech.
Because, like, when
Yeah,
she
the-
sets off her photonic bomb, it only wipes out their weapons, not...
And some of their ally figures.
Yeah,
Well-
but not, like, any of the scene.
Well, also, how about just okay, not even tech related, but how about just a straight up continuity error?
Yeah.
So Janeway, very clever move. She realizes that the holodeck ends.
Oh, and she pulls the guy out.
and she pulls the
yeah.
guy out, and then she hides and plays possum a little bit
Yeah.
to lure
Tarange.
Beta.
Boy to the wrong side of the holodeck, and his
Mhm.
gun disappears. Great.
And then
Very
she-
next shot, she picks the gun up off the floor.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
that
I meant-
annoyed me also.
I meant to go back and check and forgot to. Was it that the soldier had one and that's what she grabbed?
She doesn't move forward at all. She just
Oh,
picks
yeah.
it up where she is. So,
Yeah, okay,
so
that was a
either
fuck
there
up.
was a second gun.
That's
Yeah.
just Janeway's actual gun.
Yes.
She manifested it with her pure, like, get off my ship.
Yeah. I started realizing toward the second half when the doctor keeps going on about, you know, how many casualties there are, how we're taking lots of damage, all of our people are getting injured and all this thing. And here's the thing that I realized, like, is we don't see any of the other Voyager crew
Yeah,
because
not really,
you
no.
can't tell who's a hologram and who's not.
Yeah.
And when everyone, you know, all of a sudden, like Chakotay's team, Chakotay, when his brain winks back on or whatever it is that happens, is either by himself with holograms, and how does he figure out what's going on? Or, but you know, with holograms and some other crew members who can help, but we never really understand who's a real person
Yeah.
and who's not, and that had me struggling a little
See,
bit.
That's
if
true,
If the
yeah.
Hirogens were thinking, they would have
Lincoln?
they would have put some of the Voyager crew in as Nazis.
Mm.
You know,
That could have
Good
been
shot
good.
too, yeah.
Yeah, it could have been like, oh, just so you know, some of them are your friends.
mm-hmm.
Which of you aren't holograms? Me. Okay, that one. Shoot him.
Yeah, but you got to figure. So we only see two people outside of the holodeck that are not part of the game, which is Harry and Harry's friend. So we can presume there might be a handful of others helping out.
Well, they said half the crew was just locked in their rooms, apparently.
Oh, is that what they said? I
Okay.
missed that.
Yeah, at some point they mentioned half the
I
crew
missed
was
that too.
under lock and key.
And we know one person actually died.
At least,
And one
yeah.
person died at least.
Well, no, I think because the doctor said one casualty.
Well,
But
he
that
was
was
a
early.
casualty in the last
Oh,
period of time.
Yeah, it's likely some more died during the craziness.
And then, yeah, the after effects of the bullshit, yeah.
Yeah.
They really can't
But-
afford to keep losing crew members.
No.
Well, that's the thing, though. But so presumably there should be, like, I don't know, 70 people also in this holodeck that are part of the game but are not part of the bridge crew.
Well, wasn't it like 140 something at the beginning, and we lost a bunch right from the get go?
There still should be a lot of people.
That also just could have added to the big fight at the end, is if Harry pushed a button that unlocked all the locked rooms and then Starfleet people are pouring in too.
That would be hilarious.
But also,
yeah,
it
little
just,
Naomi Wildman with a knife.
but also just would have, maybe helped clear out the Hirogen in not the holodeck if suddenly, oh shit, bunch of Starfleet people.
Well, okay. So are the Starfleet people that are not part of the game just being kept around as, like, livestock to replace
More hunters, more
people
prey.
that
Yeah,
get
like-
killed in the game.
Yeah, if they actually lose enough people to start cycling folks in, that would be my assumption.
Yeah, because otherwise, it seems silly to keep a bunch, dozens of people alive for no reason other than to keep them locked up.
Yeah.
It's because they didn't have enough roles of French resistance fighters in the show. They only needed roles for the named characters.
Yep.
Well, it would have also, I don't understand really what was going on with the Klingon simulation, because as far as I could tell, there was only ever one Voyager crew person in that simulation
Seems
at a
to be
time.
the case, yeah.
Yeah, whoever the leader of the Klingons was.
Yeah, and then 2 holographic characters.
They badly needed more Klingons in those.
Well,
But
and I
then
think
we
at the very
see
end there
them.
suddenly were more, yeah.
Yeah, you get the idea that these are the ones who are in charge, and therefore they slink away from the rest of their soldiers and drink. And then later in the next morning, they're like, all right, everybody else who's been on the other side of this ridge, this is the plan. We're drunk.
Yeah, see,
Good plan.
It should have been, I don't know, something more interesting than just camping out, Klingon camp out.
I think at the end of the
Party.
day, it was like just that's what they had the money for.
Yeah.
You know, it was what it's
This
like.
is what we had the Klingon uniforms for.
It's like, look, we plundered the Paramount backlot for the set and the uniforms and the clothes. As far as stuff we actually have to put together ourselves, not a ton of money sitting around. We've already built like 10 Hirogen, who, by the way, we've given up on the they're all 8 feet tall thing.
Yeah, that was a shame.
Like, I kind of noticed them
Yeah.
gradually shrinking them over the course of their appearances, but in this one it was particularly bad. She's like, nope, you're just people size
Now
now.
you can fit them in a dollhouse.
Yep.
What
Well,
they
at
did. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, at least we got a Klingon singing rounds of "Row, row, row your boat" and the original Klingon during these
Cute.
what do you call them? Simulations.
What
What
if they had marshmallows?
they did.
I hope
Klingon
so.
marshmallows. They're just
Klingon
blood.
marshmallows.
Gross.
What they did build for the episodes was a 1 to 5 scale replica of that Nazi HQ building. So it was actually 7 inches tall or 7 feet tall. I don't remember if what I wrote is correct. 7 something's tall.
Okay.
And they blew that up, and I asked Jake to go back and rewatch it again, and the cut is pretty seamless. So they blew the fuck out of that thing, and it looked good.
Yeah. I'm impressed. I just assumed I didn't look closely and just kind of assumed it was CG'd, so I like they actually blew something up.
Yeah, they blew something up. I'm sure they added the CG of all the shards
Oh.
flying out. But,
Yeah.
And then they had to CG Janeway and Seven back in, jumping.
They should have, you know, see, if I could do video editing, I would totally just redo that scene, but when they dive away, it cuts to that footage of the bird of prey exploding that they've used 1,000
always,
times.
every time.
I feel like actually someone may have done something like that already.
See, honestly, I think they should have done, instead of Nazis in France, they should have done French Revolution.
Oh.
That would have been that would have been more original, I think.
I don't know. See, I think... I mean, this may be because I don't know a ton about the French Revolution, but I think trying to make the connection between Hirogen ethics and Nazi ethics, or lacks thereof, made for an interesting point of when they were talking about what their people are like.
Because Hirogens think of everybody as prey,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that they are the only real people.
And also with the French Revolution, it eventually just spiraled so out of control that, like, kind of there were just no good guys by the end.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas, like, it's easy to say, yeah, no, fuck Nazis. There you go. Whereas, like, I hate the rich, and I'm all about eating them, but eventually Robespierre was just, like, murdering whoever he wanted. Like, he ruined everything.
You can eat him too.
They should have.
Eat everybody. Here's something that got me distracted, because I've never thought about this before, because I'm not a singer. And I know they got Jerry Ryan doing her actual singing, because she knows how to sing.
Mm-hmm.
But I found, every long extended note got really, really warbly to me. Why?
The vibrato?
Yeah, is that... Why do singers do that?
That is a
No.
technique that is...
Is it good or bad? Because I
it's-
got
I
distracted
mean,
by it.
it's called for in a lot of songs.
Yeah.
Depends on who you ask. But I think, especially, like, back in the day that they were trying to recreate, that was just kind of the style of the time, like the onion on the belt.
It was the style at the time, yes.
Like, I think, but yeah, like, I think vibratos come under a little more, like, criticism in the past for decades, but at the time, I think it was really...
Is it like cheating your throat to make it make the note last longer?
I think
Or...
it's-
No, it's just, you just control the sound, so you're making it...
Yeah, it's a stylistic thing
It's
as
just a
far as I
style
know.
thing.
I think maybe it goes back to like trying to make your voice sound more like an instrument or something.
Maybe, yeah.
Like a
Could see
burb.
that.
But yeah, I think that's just kind of how you did. Especially, I think, for those, like, terrible, like, 1920s guys singing through a paper cone thing.
Well, you know who I think of, too, is, like, Edith Piaf. I feel like she did it a lot.
Well, she also had her somewhat distinctive accent where she really rolled her R's.
I prefer Edith Couscous.
There we go.
I prefer Mac and Piaf. I don't know.
But yes, I'm sure if someone who knows the history of music better than us could let you know more about it.
But yeah, she's doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is a choice.
it just got real warbly. I was like, this doesn't even sound like singing anymore. This just sounds like you're making sounds.
Yeah, whether or not.
But I don't have the ear for any of
What
this.
is singing but just making sounds?
Yeah, I love one thing I liked about that scene was just how upset Alpha Boy got when one of his friends didn't play along.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You're ruining the simulation!
Gotta play along.
the game right!
You know what it reminded me of is I had friends from college who played Quidditch, because of course I did, and of course they did. And Quidditch is a very silly game. It's not a sport, it's a silly game.
Isn't it from the Harry Potter movie?
It's from the
Yeah.
it's a made-up game from Harry Potter.
With rules that exist only to make Harry Potter even more of a Marty stew.
And because you can't play it in real life because people can't fly. Shocking. But everyone I know who's played it, you have to bring a little broom out. You run around with a little broom. And if for any reason you're not holding your little broom between your legs like you're supposed to do in the movie, everyone can yell at you and say, "How are you flying right now? You're not flying."
Wow.
That's,
I'm so sad that I missed out on this experience.
Oh, sadly, people still do it. The official federation is changing their name because they don't want to be associated with rolling anymore.
Wow.
Well, that's good.
Well, yes, but you're also still playing the stupid game she invented, which is dumb.
You know what? I think I want to propose an amendment to the rules of
Quidditch.
Quid pro quo.
Quid pro quo. And you can say it, son of a bitch.
And my proposed rule is everybody loses. Because
that's the unwritten
second
rule.
you start playing, you've lost.
Yeah.
Because that
Quidditch sucks. I mean,
I've seen that movie.
Yeah.
Many years ago, but if I recall, it doesn't even look like a good game in the movie.
It's not. It's like, here's the thing,
isn't there like a god thing? Like if you get 1 point, like you get through the smallest hole.
No, you have to catch the snitch.
Yeah,
if
and
you
that's
you automatically win.
It's
Okay,
basically because Harry's really good at that part of the game.
So that's right. So I remember that.
Yeah.
Basically, the rest of the game doesn't count.
It does not matter. Like
It's
that's
like
it's
like whose line is it anyway?
yeah.
Where the points don't matter.
It's like even current controversy around her beside. I remember when I was first reading those books. The worst part of every book was the Quidditch match.
Are they in every book?
Happily, no. She eventually dropped that bullshit. But
Well,
they're
I
in
feel like
too many of them.
I don't feel like she got started on it until
Oh no, it's from the off.
in the first book.
Oh yeah, that's the
No.
whole thing. Is
It
he
was in
gets
the
to be
first
on the
movie.
team
Oh,
earlier
even though
than
he's
he...
like a freshman or
Yeah, should
whatever.
have, because like McGonagall really wanted to fucking win, and he was good, so she broke school rules. I wonder where he learned to do that.
I mean, nobody is without sin in that book.
I know.
Wizarding!
Yeah, no, she's again, like, current controversy aside, she's not actually a good writer. People need to realize that.
Okay. Well, anyway, snatch the snitch.
Mhm.
That's what I learned. But yeah, if they played that game in this holodeck simulation, Alpha Boy would be really upset.
He would.
His friends didn't hold on to their
He would have won.
broomsticks.
They're not
Shooting
flying.
him dead right in the middle of the thing.
Snitch is hiding on the rooftops. You can't get him down. You know, in the live version of the game, the snitch is just a person who runs around. You have to catch him.
Oh, really?
They play tag, basically.
Oh,
It's
that's-
basically a game where most of your players are playing kind of like a handball situation, whilst two people just play tag.
In the
That sounds
1950s, Mad Magazine did an article about, I think it was called 43-Man Squamish. And it was all for the sake of doing this little parody article, making fun of, like, collegiate sports and this, that, and the other thing. Needless to say, some folks in the 50s actually made a Squamish league. So it's astounding what people will try.
Yep.
Has anybody done, what's the fucking stupid game that they play on
Spring Ball
Battlestar?
on Battlestar.
Pyramid.
Yeah.
Like dumb basketball.
So just basketball?
Yeah.
Did anyone ever actually make a basketball league? I feel like I could have been decent at that, because it didn't actually involve athletics. Anyway, fake sports aside.
I loved how Carr redecorated the ready room.
So did Janeway, couldn't you tell?
It was a good time.
She's went after the Hirogen all leave. She's like, you know what? I'm gonna leave the spines up.
I think it would be kind of funny if just from this episode forward she had her Hirogen helmet on one of her shelves.
Yes, like
her own token.
Like Livingston the fish. Well, this guy's helmet. Or what's the thing that Picard has? The Mintakan scarf thing.
Oh, yeah.
The little shawl over his chair.
She like has it upside down and is using it as a planter.
Oh, here's a very small detail I liked, is because it happened twice. I think in part 1, the Doctor, activates Seven's buzz chip. And, she's about to jump back in. He says, wait, do you know anything about World War II and the French Resistance? She's like, fucking no. Good luck.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's good. Someone doesn't know the context for a thing for a change.
Yeah.
And then later, shockingly, Tuvok didn't know anything about it either. And I was like, Vulcan, what?
True. Thank God Harry hangs around with Tom Paris, though, because that's the only way he could have known about Betty Grable's legs. It's weird, like, that is one of the only things I remembered specifically about this episode was that stupid moment. Because even as a child, I was like, that's your security question?
Well, yeah, and also, like...
Well, that was Bobby's security question.
But still,
well, no, I
you're
know,
just gonna,
but...
like, if he wasn't a fan of movies, you're just gonna murder the guy?
Or
Yes.
if he likes tits more than legs.
Yeah.
Although we looked it up, and she was apparently very famous for her legs.
Yeah.
I don't think she even had a face. I think she was just legs.
For days, toots!
But yeah, I remembered that, and I referenced, I think, back in Year of Hell, I said, we all know Harry gets his knowledge from Tom. There's a moment we'll see later. This was it. that moment was what I was thinking of. And
okay.
It's just like, he's lucky he lets Tom show him old-ass movies that he probably doesn't actually care about.
What are you talking about? She posed naked. He probably just showed her the naked pictures and like, this is Betty Grable. Check out those gams.
Yeah. I was gonna say something, I don't remember what it was. Cool.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
Yeah, I'm looking through my notes right now. Oh, here's a question. Which do y'all like better? Neelix pretending to be a Klingon or Neelix pretending to be a Ferengi?
The latter.
So here's the thing. When Neelix didn't know he was a Klingon, Ethan Phillips was clearly having too much fun. And that's amazing. Once he knew who he was
just Neelix-y.
Yeah, like...
But I don't know, I thought the little comic relief moments of
were
Neelix
great.
and the Doctor...
No, those were great, don't get me wrong.
Tally-ho! And
No. It's tally-ho. Well, he wiggles the knife around. That was... Yeah, no, I mean, I love those moments, but... As far, Neelix as a Ferengi was... Because he was conscious of who he really was the whole time and what his part was supposed to be. That was more fun in that way. But... unknowing Neelix playing a Klingon was amazing, and Ethan Phillips, again, was clearly just like, they let him off the leash and he ran with it.
I know that it was also tough, because, he's effectively wearing his Talaxian makeup, and then on top of the Talaxian makeup, they put the Klingon makeup. Yeah. And he said that was really rough, but he otherwise enjoyed being a Klingon for a day.
You know what I like, too, is when he was in the World War II simulation, like, he was wearing, pretty... time period appropriate clothes, but a kind of ugly, like 24th century civilian vest. Like there's still that little thing there, just like here's an ugly pattern on Neelix because we can't let him wear something not at least a little ugly. Like it looks like they stole one of Sherlock Lofton's particularly bad vests from the early DS9 seasons, and we're like, here, put that on.
Yeah. The last thing for me I'm going to say is I like that the main Nazi guy got bat'lifted to death instead of something like over dramatic like Brigitte getting the final shot or making it a real point. But nope, you just see he's down on the ground going, oh crap, while a bat'lith is coming down.
Well, and looking at this alien monster, it's like, hey, guess what? You're getting killed by something that thinks you're a piece of shit. And that was poetic.
Neat.
Good moment.
Very.
So we have another blog activity ready for y'all today.
Oh, fuck!
Oh, shit.
Get ready, we're looking at Hitler's death car.
I just shit my pants.
Hitler's death car?
That's, I think, The Sims.
Alright, so we've been talking about all kinds of alien ships, and this week we're talking about, very fittingly, Voyager alien ships, which we've just saw, a bunch of in this show that we watched. All that. So I'm also going to be a little bit nitpicky because there are a lot of ships. So I picked the ones I recognized.
That makes sense.
My rule is if it's in timelines, it's worth including. If it's not in timelines, I don't remember which ship you are. Sorry,
Works for
guys.
me.
So we're going to start with the Kazon. Because, they were one of our early big bads. We're going to look at their ships. We're going to start with their carrier ship.
I remember seeing this one.
The Trabe were also flying around in it. It's just a big, like a mollusk-looking ship that's it's a long, tan, tapered thing.
Its design makes more sense when you understand where it came from.
Where'd it come from?
The Trabe.
Oh.
That's true, yeah, because the Kazon took over the Trabe, because the Trabes were being dicks.
Yeah, because they were the worst. But also, it just looks... You feel like if they had designed their own ship from scratch, it would look a little more threatening. But this is very, like, kind of smooth and polished. And, like, why is this? Like, it's weirdly, like... Like, it's clearly an angry vehicle, but not as angry as you might expect. I like it, though. I like that there is a clear language.
Looks like that thing that the Jawas drive around in.
Okay, yeah.
Well, yeah, especially in this middle picture here where it's got the, like, big... It's akin to their door.
I think it looks like a Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right, actually.
Yeah,
very... Yes, a very Art Deco Zeppelin. Kind of like either the Brotherhood of Steel Carrier or the one you see in Grim Fandango.
Get none of these references, but...
I was going to say, I know what Grim Fandango is, but I don't remember the
they're video
Zeppelin.
games. Like they were playing on the Voyager.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Kazon ship, just because we know, I wanted to remind you all that Kazon exists, but there's another Kazon ship we can look at.
As if I could ever forget the Kazon.
This one also looks similar to the one that they got from the Trabe, so I'm going to assume maybe the Trabe made this one too. Yeah. It's their Raider ship.
This one has a beard, though.
Yeah, this one's got like a little bit hanging off the front of it that, I don't know if they say... No,
it feels like it'd be for landing. It's landing gear or something.
The text, in fact, says it was another one stolen from the Trabe.
Oh, there you go. Well, that's perfect. Yeah, and it looks like they're in the same kind of ship family.
Yeah.
Stupid Trabe.
Yeah, they sucked.
Yeah, this one's got the long goatee, as Chris said.
This one's kind of greenish. They repainted one. Or maybe it's just the lighting in that shot.
Maybe it's oxidation. Who knows?
Maybe it comes in several different factory colors.
Yeah, this one's lime flavored.
I never looked closely at the ships in the show, but there's a good, consistent design ethos, and I quite like it.
Yeah, it's very streamlined. I like that it doesn't have like big honking nacelles or anything. It's just a like slippy little like a minnow fish.
Yeah, I'm suddenly just in this one picture in the upper left. I'm getting vague red dwarf vibes.
What does the red dwarf ship look like?
I'm possibly misremembering it, but I feel like it's shaped kind of like that.
It looks like they stole it from the Trabe.
Right now, all I can remember is their shuttle, but that looks like a big bug.
Trabe. Next.
While Chris looks that up, we're going to look at the next ship.
No, it doesn't look at all like a Trabe ship. I don't know why I was thinking that.
Neat.
That is a B-2 bomber.
So what we're looking at now, and you can make, as I've
No, not
said,
a B-2.
Sorry, as I've said before, make sure that you're following along with our Tumblr, because the pictures are there, but we're describing them for you now, because right now we're looking at the Voth city ship, which is supposed to be that gigantic fucker that the Voth all live in, and it's got neat markings on its face kind of area, but otherwise it looks very much like a streamlined, like, stealth jet.
Wait, it looks like I looked at
but huge.
It's the SR-71 is the one I meant.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, like it almost looks like, you know what it is? It's the SR-71 fucked a submarine, and this is the baby.
Pretty.
Except this is like the most gigantic ship.
Oh yeah, no, it's fucking crazy huge.
Yeah, how the scale of this thing works is a little bit beyond me, because like I know these can't be windows because the ship would be way too big.
Yeah, no,
so there's something else.
That's either weapons or part of their warp drive or who knows.
Yeah, I kind of wish that we did have some element of the ship itself to give you a sense of scale. Like if you could know like this is, you know, what one segment of it is, and it's like this big. But
too fucking big is the answer.
Yay.
They like it big.
Yeah.
I like it. I like all the green lights on it. I think they're pretty.
Mm-hmm.
It almost looks bioluminescent.
Oh, maybe it is.
Maybe.
You never know.
So that's the Voth ship.
Yeah.
Another ship that we get to see in Voyager is the Species 8472's bio ship.
It's coming to pinch you.
Which looks...
It does look a little pinchy.
It looks a little kind of like the end of like an arrow with like the little feathers that stick out.
With
fletching?
Yes, thank you.
But I think this one's especially interesting, just especially knowing that it is a bio ship, that this is a thing that's alive, and therefore it has less like angles and a lot more like curves and more organic looking bits.
Also big fins, because it's probably easier to get through fluidic space with fins.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a thing that swims through space and flies through space and shoots you in space.
Yeah. Especially shoots you.
Oh, yeah, look when they do the little team up.
I love that, yeah. They make a little space anus and shoot you out of it.
I still like your idea.
Space anus.
What's that?
That fluidic space itself is an entity, and the individuals in the ships we see are just something it builds to interact with our space. And, like, eventually they go back and just kind of...
That was my idea?
Yeah.
That's slightly insane, Jake.
Dissolves back into it. I thought that was your idea.
It might have been. I don't know.
Someone go back and listen to that episode. Tell me if it was Jake's idea or somebody else's.
But
Well,
cool.
It wasn't
I'll tell
me.
you right now, it wasn't my idea.
Neat.
Yeah, I like it. It's another ship that's almost a little bit like shuttlecocky.
Yeah. I mean, they would be. They're so powerful. Of course they're trouble-cocky.
Ah.
I think it looked
Thumbs
like
up.
salad tongs.
Or that.
Salad toss.
Oh,
And
no.
scrambled eggs.
Oh.
Moving on.
Doo-doo.
Moving on. One of my favorite ships that we see in all of the Voyager is the ship we talked about a couple weeks ago, the Krenim Temporal Weapon Ship.
Oh, God.
Which
This beast.
it's so neat because it's got all this blue, and maybe it's the blue. The blue is very pretty.
It really blew itself.
And also anybody it comes in contact with. Oh, God.
Aha!
But no, the shape of it, like it's got lots of little intricate, like it looks almost like a chandelier
Yeah.
because
Looks
it's
like a
got all
squid.
these pretty bits.
Yeah,
Or an
the squid. Yeah, I
octopus.
see that.
Mm-hmm.
It's. I mean, I think we said it in the episode, but you get the sense from the design that, like, 95% of this ship is just to...
Shoot lasers.
Yeah, is the gun.
Yeah.
You know, and, like, this little arm right here is where everyone lives. Everything else is a generator or a focusing lens or a something
Salad bar.
for this crazy time gun.
Yeah, that's how Death Stars work.
They actually kind of are.
Are they just big guns and everybody just lives in a little section of it?
Oh, no, I mean, there is a huge-ass gun, but there's also a huge-ass amount of superstructure. But there was, like, a novel where somebody was like, fuck it, and just built the gun part. And was like, why build the whole fucking thing?
Wow.
I also like that on the Krenim ship, you can kind of see there's almost like what looks like a little prism at the end that the light shines through.
Like
that
all-
makes it extra pretty.
All their ships are mostly gun, it would seem. Even when they're not time guns. Which makes sense, they seem like dicks. And that's how a dick designs a ship, it's mostly a gun.
Dick ship.
Yeah.
Next.
Next.
What
All right,
the-
so we're
Oh.
talking about the Hirogen right now because they've been visiting Voyager, whether we want them to or not. And their ships are like, they're cute little insect-looking things.
Yeah, they're kind of spidery.
Yeah, they kind
Reminds
of
me
have little
like a
antennae.
Galaga or a Galaxian ship.
Or
A
that.
what?
Like one of the ships from Galaga or Galaxian, like old, like
Are those video
old
games?
arcade
What would you
games.
I'm
say,
not
late
getting any
70s
of
or
these
early
references.
80s?
They're the, like, kind of the one where you have a little ship going at the bottom of it. No,
Oh.
that's more Space Invaders.
No,
it's
that's
the same,
right.
It's the same
Okay.
thing.
I like the armor plating over the nacelles, though. Like a little extra...
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
That is a good detail.
Yeah.
I disagree with the name warship for this, right? Because they're not at war, really. They're
They're
just,
on the hunt.
Yeah, they're on
Hunt
the hunt. This is
Yeah. I guess hunt ship isn't really a word.
Well, they could
And
be.
Hirogen pickup truck just sounds weird.
In the Hirogen language, it probably translates to hunt ship.
Yeah.
But the universal translator, you see.
You know what? That works.
Yay.
I even kind of like it almost looks like it's supposed to be semi-camouflage, but you're in space, so
Yeah.
it's kind of pointless. But
Just
it's got
be
that
dark.
mottled...
Just
They don't-
don't have lights on and you're
They don't really show any angles from the back too well.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
So
too
we
bad.
can't
'cause
see the truck nuts.
I was just gonna make a truck nuts reference. I was literally just gonna say that, or the the picture of Calvin like pissing on another starship. You know?
Okay, the head-on view, though, that is Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
It
That's
is
his
Jar Jar
wide-ass
Binks.
mouth and his stalk eyes.
It's upsetting.
Misa gonna hang your spine on my wall.
Gross.
Whoa. You're gonna dissolve in a vat of fluids and we're going to watch.
Today, Jar Jar Binks chose violence.
Darth Jar Jar for the win. Later on, this is a little spoiler, we're going to see a new Hirogen ship in the future. We're not done with the Hirogen yet, even though they promised to go away. We're
Why
gonna
is
see...
that Hirogen dressed like Evil Knievel? What the fuck?
That's how they always dress.
It just looks really silly.
Hollow ship, though.
We're going to see this hollow ship eventually. Shocking.
Huh.
Minor spoilers in literally the name of the ship. But the shape of the ship reminds me of a big fucking bee.
It's too cute.
Bees are cute.
No, I know,
Bee.
but the Hirogen shouldn't be making cute ships.
Okay, that
Yeah,
kind of
it does. It really
Like,
does.
it's got this big
bee.
round face, and what I assume are torpedo launchers look like eyes.
They do.
It's like, hello,
It looks,
I'm here to be
me,
your
it looks
friend.
like an uncircumcised cock.
God damn it, Jake.
It looks like
We
a.
were just saying how cute it
You
looks,
can see
Jake.
you can see like the little tip peeking out at the
Son
front.
of a bitch.
No, it is an adorable cartoon bee. Anyway, adorable space bee. I love it. It just feels a little too kind for the Hirogen.
Well, we'll see what the context is in the future in which it comes up, but I wanted to include it because we're talking Hirogen
Like, I want to be its friend.
Aw, it literally looks like it's smiling at you.
Yeah, like it should be like the second wave of exocomp, not a starship. And it hovers there and is like, "What's up?" And you're like, "Not much."
Ahoy.
Eh.
Alright, so I'm including this ship, the USS Dauntless. I do not remember the context for this ship, but I'm bringing it up because we see another one of these in Prodigy.
Don't read the text; they'll spoil the fuck out of you.
Good. The text I'm not putting on the text I don't put on the
No, I'm just telling you guys now.
Okay, well,
Now I
I'm
can't
not-
help but try looking at the text.
Well, we'll go to the next page then.
I like that it's got a what's the word? A
Face.
deflector like strip instead of dish, which actually we'll see on the Prodigy. It doesn't have a dish; it has like a deflector strip.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
A landing strip?
But yes, we do see one of these in Prodigy.
Yeah, and again, I don't remember the context for what the fuck this ship is and why we see it. But it looks to me like a squid camouflaged as a starship.
That's a
Yeah,
good way to
I
put
can
it.
definitely see the squiddiness in this one too.
Yeah, no, totally.
it's so-
totally.
Everything is so rounded and looks just more like squishy flesh than like
No, you
than,
got a
like,
point.
metal hull.
Yeah, let me
It
see when
also
we get
looks
to that one.
cute. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what's going on. I remember this one,
Okay.
but I shall not get into details.
All right.
Purple, not a common thing on Starfleet vessels.
I like seeing purple in space.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it.
Alright, I think there's just a couple more. We'll eventually see a new Borg ship in Voyager.
Yeah.
This is the Borg Queen's ship. It's more... There's a certain prism shape,
Yeah.
but I don't know what it is.
Oh.
Hexadecimal system.
That's a bad guy from Reboot. Wow. Yeah.
It looks kind of like a big three-dimensional diamondy prismy thing
Yeah.
with all kinds of lasers just coming out of it.
Do we know how big it is?
Very.
I think I have a video of alien ships, and I think it's included on that one in terms of a size comparison video that I'll share when we've gone through all the different alien ships. So keep watching our Facebook, and I'll link that sometime.
Because I still liked that idea we discussed a few weeks ago that like maybe they build a cube around
Yeah, I think it's
a
definitely
smaller
smaller than a
thing. So this would potentially work with that idea.
Mm.
Like they would eventually build a full cube around this fucker.
Yeah, I think it's closer in size to the Borg sphere.
Okay.
Like that kind of general size. But I'll take a look at the video later. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But the shape of this thing, again, it's another ship that would make a really nice pendant on a necklace.
It really would. It's very, it's it's not used as cube or sphere. There's actually a little bit of art to it.
Yeah, they went pretty on this one.
I'd wear it.
You notice they assimilated a couple of
Elves.
they say F. Murray Abraham's people.
Sona.
The Sona. Because they were evil, but goddamn, their shit was fancy.
They were
They
very
did have fancy
pretty.
They had very fancy
They are
ships.
very
They
fancy boys.
They had that fucking chaise lounge captain's chair.
Yes!
They're big fucking rank bars. Like,
Yeah, they had great aesthetic.
they did. Evil pricks, though.
Alright.
The hell?
So eventually we're going to meet it's either Malon or Malin. We'll see when we get to their episode in season 5, I think, or
This
maybe
looks like
6.
Tommy gun or like.
It's a funky ship, the Malon export vessel, which is clearly meant for hauling cargo.
It's specifically liquid cargo, but I only say that because it's spheres.
Yeah, something you can put in big honking balls.
What's funny, too, is like, it seems to have... Like, it clearly has a bridge somewhere, but it also seems to have, like, lookout towers, almost, which is interesting. Makes
Could
it
be
seem...
weapons or sensors or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, actually, you know what? Yeah, because in this angle, you can kind of see it looks like there's, like, they might be turrets. Looks like there's guns up top.
Cool.
Yeah, I just like the look of it. Looks like you took a couple of super balls and then you connected them together in a little structure of some kind.
Like a scrotum.
Yeah, and then and stretch something over the top.
There's a vague, like, mid-century locomotive look to it, too.
They actually look like peas in a pod to me.
That as well, sure.
It's a bit steampunky.
Yes.
Yes. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
All right, I believe there's one left, and if I'm wrong, damn it. But it's my favorite. It doesn't actually count as an alien ship, but I
think I know what this is going to be.
But I needed to show you guys because I love it so much, and that's Captain Proton's ship.
Yes!
Yes!
What is it?
Oh, we'll get to Captain Proton.
You and I will either love or hate Captain Proton because I don't remember it, but I love that in this like 50s B sci-fi movie thing that they do.
Yeah, it's a Flash Gordon parody, basically.
They decide that a spaceship is just a blimp in space, and that's fucking hilarious.
Basically what they were in those serials.
It makes no sense because you can't have a helium balloon in space.
And yet, what I love is, despite the fact they went full Flash Gordon in it, they still gave it nacelles because it's Star Trek. That's beautiful. I'm glad you included that.
Me too. Plus, I'm flying it around in timelines right now, so
even better.
It's a good time.
That must piss people off when they get blown out of the sky, like they're in some big honkin' Cardassian thing, and then along comes Captain you can see his string, for Christ's sakes. Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
Cool.
So those are the ships that we talked about today. As I said, they're up on the Tumblr. If you want to look at all those ships. If I missed any of your favorite Voyager ships, shoot us a line. I'm sure there's a lot of ships in the Delta Quadrant.
So many.
There's too many to count them all. But those are the ones I wanted to talk about today. And you can see them all online, and you can listen to all our episodes online, and you can chat with us on Facebook and Twitter online. You can do all the things online.
Yeah.
And next week, if you keep listening to us on SoundCloud or, your favorite podcast application, pick your favorite. There's tons of them. We're going to be covering more The Voyager.
Yay!
Next week's episodes are going to be Vis-a-Vis and the Omega Directive.
Ooh.
So get prepared for that.
Oh, no. No. Last time there was the Omega blank, it was the Omega Glory, and that was hot fucking trash.
I don't remember either of these episodes, so we'll see.
Can they redeem the Omega?
Yeah. Also, next week we'll be wrapping up our alien ship conversation for a while with the Enterprise ships, because after that, all the new age ships I don't have a good collection of yet because they're all too new.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing that next week. Until then, that's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I made that very fast.
You did.
Let me slow it down for no fucking reason now with banter.
Woo!
This has been Ames.
This has been Caitlin.
This has been Jake.
And this is always Chris. Slowing it down.
Super slow. Remove this cat. He's becoming fast. He's looking right at Kate.
Yeah, I know. He's been sitting there looking at me the whole time, and I'm just like,
I'm gonna scratch that face.
I'm gonna fucking ruin that face.